Welcome to the Link in Bio podcast, your one-stop destination for life-changing insights on health, wealth, legal education, relationships, and more. Ready to level up? Let's dive into the knowledge designed to transform your life.
Let's dive in. Today, we're taking a look at making money with HubPages. A title that I'll admit sounds a bit get-rich-quick scheme-ish.
A little bit, yeah.
But hey, we're here to sift through it all, right?
Absolutely. Let's uncover what's really going on.
See what we can actually learn. So first things first, what exactly is HubPages?
Well, HubPages is basically this platform, a website where people, they call them hubbers, can write and publish content.
Okay, so kind of like articles?
Exactly. They call them hubs, and you can write about almost anything you can imagine.
And the cool thing is, it's free, right?
Yeah, it's totally free to join.
So low barrier to entry if you want to share your expertise or even just try out content creation. But what makes a good hub? Like one that actually gets attention?
Good question. The document we're looking at really emphasizes quality content, stuff that actually provides, real value to the reader.
Makes sense.
It even suggests the sort of reverse psychology approach,
Oh.
Like focus on helping people first and the sales will kind of naturally follow.
Interesting. So not just blasting people with sales pitches right off the bat.
Exactly. They give this example of a graphic designer, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just straight up advertising their services, they could write these really informative hubs about design principles.
Showing their expertise more subtly.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe at the end be like, oh, and by the way, I also offer these services.
Sneaky. I like it. So you're kind of building that trust, establishing yourself as a source of good information.
Right.
And speaking of building trust, the document also talks about this whole create a fan base thing. How does that even work on HubPages?
Well, it's about, consistently creating good hubs, engaging with the community, participating in the forums.
So being a part of that ecosystem.
Exactly. It's not just about dumping your content and hoping for the best.
Makes total sense. It's like any platform, right? The more you're actually there, the more you're participating, the more your stuff gets seen. But okay, let's be real. We're all here to figure out this whole money-making thing.
Right.
And this document, it breaks it down to the easy way and the advanced way to earn.
Yeah.
Where should we start? Which one do you want to tackle first?
Let's start with the easy way.
Okay.
So the easy way relies on HubPages' built-in affiliate programs.
Okay, so they already have those set up.
Yep. They've got partnerships with, companies like Google AdSense, Amazon Associates, the eBay Partner Network, even Amobi.com, which was formerly Contera.
Wow, so there's quite a few options.
Yeah, and basically these programs allow you to place ads and affiliate links within your hubs.
So you can earn even if you don't have your own product to sell.
Right. You're essentially
Yeah.
recommending other companies' stuff.
That's pretty cool for someone just starting out, right? Low risk.
Definitely.
But can you break down how those affiliate links actually work?
Sure. Imagine you've written a hub, let's say, about hiking boots. The best hiking boots, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You could include affiliate links to those boots on Amazon, for example.
Okay.
And then if a reader clicks your link and buys a pair, you get a small commission.
So everyone wins. The reader gets good boots, Amazon makes a sale, and you get a cut for connecting them.
Precisely.
Smart. So that's a pretty solid way to add value while also potentially generating some income. But I'm guessing this easy way probably has its limitations. What makes the advanced way so different?
Well, the advanced way is definitely more strategic.
Okay.
And often it ties in with having your own website or business.
Ah, okay. So it's building on that.
Yeah. And the document outlines 3 main methods. The first one is basically indirectly promoting your business through helpful hubs.
So similar to that graphic designer example we talked about.
Right. You're using your hub to kind of showcase your expertise and subtly guide people toward your own services.
I see. What are the other 2 methods?
The second one is promoting affiliate products, but specifically related to your hub's topic.
So not just limited to those built-in programs.
Yeah, exactly. You have more freedom here to choose products from any company that aligns with your content.
So for instance, if my hub's about yoga, I could link to yoga mats, clothing, online courses, anything that makes sense for the reader.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
So it's about adding value, not just randomly throwing in links.
Right.
What's that third method?
The third method involves offering something free, like an ebook or a report, in exchange for email addresses.
The classic email list builder.
Yeah, it's a great way to build your email list, which can be really valuable.
Definitely. But I'm guessing there's a catch.
Well, the key here is that your hub can't just be a sales pitch for the freebie. It still needs to provide standalone value.
Right, so no bait and switch tactics.
Exactly. The hub itself has to be informative and helpful, not just a way to snag emails.
Gotcha. It seems like no matter what method you choose, it all comes back to that give value first philosophy.
For sure.
But with like a million topics out there, how do you even choose what to write about?
Well, the document emphasizes picking subjects you're actually passionate about.
Makes sense.
Your enthusiasm will shine through in your writing, and readers can tell when someone's genuinely interested in what they're writing about.
Definitely. So find those things you love to talk about, the things that really excite you.
Exactly.
Maybe that's the real secret sauce to this whole HubPages thing,
Could be.
Finding those topics where passion and profit kind of intersect.
I like it.
But I imagine there are some, like, guidelines to keep in mind, right? Especially when it comes to linking.
Oh, yeah, for sure. HubPages has some pretty strict guidelines, especially compared to some other platforms.
Okay, so no link spamming every other sentence.
Definitely not. They really want to make sure the focus is on quality content, not just self-promotion.
Right.
One rule they mention specifically is no more than 2 links to the same domain in one hub.
Oh, so you can't just blast your website link everywhere.
Nope. It's got to be strategic and actually relevant to what you're writing.
And even then, it's probably smart to double check those guidelines, make sure you're up to date, right?
Absolutely.
Because things can change. Speaking of different approaches, there's this bonus method mentioned that caught my eye, writing hubs for others.
Oh, yeah, that one's interesting.
What's the deal with that?
That's more for experienced hubbers who have already built up a solid reputation.
Okay.
They can actually offer their writing services to other people who might need help creating high-quality content.
So it's like a testament to the potential of really establishing yourself on HubPages.
Exactly.
If you become known for your writing skills, you can leverage that.
Definitely.
That's pretty cool. But even if you're not writing for others, the document emphasizes the power of creating multiple hubs, but on related topics.
Right.
Why is that so important?
Well, HubPages actually has this feature where you can group related hubs together.
Right.
So it makes it super easy for readers to find more of your content on a specific subject.
So it's like building this little content ecosystem.
Exactly. Think of it like this. If one hub is your hit song,
Okay, yeah.
the related hubs become the album, keeping people engaged.
I like that analogy. So if someone loves my hub about, I don't know, bread baking,
Right.
they can easily find my other hubs on sourdough starters, different types of flour, or even bread making tools.
Exactly.
Keeps them coming back for more.
Yeah.
But how do you know what's actually resonating with your audience? Does HubPages provide any insight into that?
Oh, absolutely. The document really encourages hubbers to look at their traffic stats, analyze that data.
So it's like detective work, but for your content.
Exactly. Instead of solving crimes, you're solving the case of what does my audience actually want to see?
Love it. So what kind of things can you learn from those stats?
Well, you can see, for example, which hubs are getting the most views, what topics are really resonating, even where your traffic is coming from.
So you can double down on what's working, tweak what's not.
Yeah.
Pretty valuable stuff. But it's not enough to just rely on HubPages to bring the readers to you, right?
Right. You can't just sit back and expect the traffic to magically appear.
You got to put in the work.
Exactly. The document actually emphasizes the importance of promoting your hubs through other channels too.
So social media, relevant forums, maybe even article directories.
All of that.
It's all about experimenting, seeing what works best.
Definitely.
And speaking of different ways to earn on HubPages, there's one more method they mentioned, the HubPages referral program.
Oh, right. Yeah.
What's that all about?
So that's a way to earn some passive income. You basically refer new hubbers to the platform.
Okay.
They give you a unique referral link, and if someone signs up using your link, you get a commission.
So it's like a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Yeah, it could potentially add a little extra income over time.
Interesting. So it seems like we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've unpacked what HubPages is, how it works, and all these different ways people are trying to, make some money with it.
Yeah, it's been a good overview.
What are your initial thoughts? What stands out to you from all of this?
I think what's really interesting is that while there are all these different options, all these different approaches, it really seems like success on HubPages comes down to a few key things: effort, strategy, and that focus on providing real value to your readers.
It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Definitely not. It's more like a platform where you can potentially earn income, but by actually sharing your knowledge, connecting with an audience, and building something valuable.
That community aspect seems pretty big too.
Yeah, it seems like a big part of the appeal.
It's not just about competing for clicks, but also about like collaborating and supporting each other.
Exactly. It's about creating something together.
I like that. So for our listener who's been absorbing all this information, what's the next step if they're actually interested in exploring HubPages?
I'd say start with some good old-fashioned research.
Okay, go to HubPages, poke around, read some hubs, and get a feel for the platform.
See if it vibes with you.
Exactly. See if it's a place you can see yourself contributing to.
It's like checking out a new neighborhood before you move in.
Yeah, good analogy. See if you can picture yourself living there.
And once you've gotten a feel for the place, the next step would be to brainstorm, right?
Absolutely.
Like, what are you passionate about? What knowledge or skills do you have that you could share with others?
Right. Think about what questions people are asking, what problems they're trying to solve.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Exactly. Try different topics, writing styles, even different approaches to making money.
See what works for you.
Definitely,
It's
yeah.
all about finding your own path to success on HubPages. Now, you mentioned earlier that Contera is now called Amobi.com.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I'm not really familiar with that company.
Well, that's okay.
Can you give us a little background on what they do?
Sure. So Amobi.com is basically this marketing technology company.
They specialize in digital advertising.
Ah, so they're the ones behind those ads we see online.
They could be, yeah. They offer a platform for publishers like HubPages to connect with advertisers and, make money from their content through different ad formats.
So even if our listener isn't familiar with all the technical stuff,
Yeah.
it's good to know that HubPages has partnered with like reputable companies that can help them monetize their content.
Definitely.
Speaking of technical stuff, you mentioned that looking at those traffic stats is really important.
It is.
What are some of the key metrics that Hubbers should be paying attention to?
Well, the most obvious one is page views.
Yeah.
How many people are actually visiting your hubs.
Makes sense.
But it's also important to look at things like bounce rate.
Bounce rate.
Yeah, that tells you how quickly people are leaving your page.
So if it's high, that's not a good sign.
Not really.
People are clicking away pretty quickly.
Yeah. And another important one is time on page, which basically shows you how long people are actually staying engaged with your content.
Okay, so you want that to be high.
Ideally, yes. And these metrics can give you clues about which topics are resonating and which ones might need some tweaking.
It's like getting feedback from your readers without them actually having to leave a comment.
Right.
And I imagine where that traffic is coming from is pretty important too, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. HubPages provides data on that.
Okay.
So you can see if people are finding you through search engines, social media, other websites, or even directly from HubPages itself.
So if you're getting a lot of traffic from like Google searches, that means you're doing a good job with SEO.
Exactly. Your SEO game is strong.
Good to know. And speaking of promotion, you mentioned article directories earlier.
Yeah.
Can you explain how those work?
Sure. So article directories are basically websites where you can submit your articles for wider distribution.
Okay.
They can be a good way to get your content in front of a new audience and hopefully drive traffic back to your HubPages hubs.
Makes sense.
But it's important to choose directories that are relevant to your niche and that have a good reputation.
So you want to be seen in the right places.
Exactly. You want your content to be valued.
But before we go too deep into promotion strategies, let's bring it back to our listener who might be completely new to this whole HubPages thing.
Yeah.
What's your biggest piece of advice for them?
I'd say don't get overwhelmed. Start small.
Yeah.
Choose one or two topics that you're genuinely excited about.
Yeah.
And write a couple of really high-quality hubs. Focus on providing value, connecting with your audience, and, as you gain experience and confidence, you can start experimenting with those different monetization methods and promotion techniques.
So it's a journey.
It is definitely a journey, not a race.
Enjoy the process.
Exactly.
Now, before we wrap up, let's go back to those money-making methods for a second. Let's do a little thought experiment. Of all the methods we discussed, which one resonated with you the most, and why?
Oh, that's a good one.
Was it the simplicity of those built-in affiliate programs? The strategic approach of promoting your own business? Or maybe the long-term potential of building that email list through freebies? Take a minute, listener. Think about it. What excites you the most? What aligns with your goals and passions?
Yeah, what feels right for you.
And to take it a step further, I challenge you to brainstorm 3 hub topics that you could create. but think about topics that would genuinely help and inform your target audience. What are those subjects you could write about effortlessly, where your knowledge and enthusiasm would just shine through?
That's a great challenge.
Because remember, the more passionate you are about your topics, the more engaging and valuable your content will be.
Definitely.
And hey, if you're feeling really ambitious, think about those bonus methods, like writing hubs for others or building that network of related hubs. Those could be interesting avenues to explore as you get more comfortable on HubPages.
Absolutely. There are so many possibilities.
And that's what makes HubPages so exciting, right? It's a platform where you can explore, you can share, you can connect, and maybe even earn some income while doing something you genuinely enjoy.
Well said.
Well said. And even if HubPages doesn't become your main source of income, the experience itself can be super rewarding.
Oh, for sure. You'll learn new skills, expand your knowledge, connect with people who share your interests.
It's an investment in yourself.
Absolutely.
So listener, are you ready to take the plunge? Are you ready to unleash your inner hubber and see where this online adventure takes you?
We're excited to see what you create.
And hey, if you decide to give HubPages a try, let us know how it goes. We love hearing about your experiences, your successes, even your challenges. We're all on this journey together, constantly learning, growing, and exploring new ways to share our passions with the world. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be featuring your HubPages success story right here on The Deep Dive.
That would be awesome.
That wraps up our deep dive into the world of HubPages.
It's been fun.
It has been fun. And as always, stay curious, keep creating, and keep diving deep into all those fascinating worlds that are out there.
Couldn't agree more.
It's like having a whole team of cheerleaders rooting for you as you figure this stuff out.
Exactly. And speaking of figuring things out, we talked about Amobi.com earlier. That's the company that took over from Contera.
Right, and I gotta admit, I'm not really familiar with them. What's their role in all of this?
Well, Amobi.com is a big player in digital advertising.
Okay.
They provide this platform, like a connection point, that helps publishers like HubPages connect with advertisers.
So they're kind of like the middleman.
Yeah, you could say that. They handle the technical side of things, making sure the right ads get shown to the right people.
Gotcha. So even though we might not know all the ins and outs of how it works, it's good to know that HubPages is working with established companies to, help people monetize their content.
Absolutely.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. You mentioned earlier how important it is to analyze those traffic stats. What are some of the specific things that Hubbers should be looking at?
Well, the first thing is pretty obvious, page views.
Right, how many people are actually visiting your hub?
Exactly. But then you also want to dig a little deeper. Look at things like bounce rate.
Bounce rate.
Yeah, that basically tells you how quickly people are leaving your page after they arrive.
Oh, I see. So a high bounce rate means people aren't sticking around.
Right, they're clicking away pretty fast. And then there's time on page, which shows you how long people are actually spending engaged with your content.
Okay, so you want that to be high.
Ideally, yeah. The longer they stay, the more interested they are. And by looking at these metrics, you can start to get a sense of what's working, what topics people are really into, and what might need a little bit of work.
It's like getting feedback directly from your readers.
In a way.
And
Yeah.
knowing where your traffic is coming from is important
Yeah.
too, right?
Oh, yeah, that's key. HubPages actually gives you that data. You can see if people are finding you through search engines, social media, other websites, or even directly from HubPages itself.
So if you're getting a lot of traffic from Google, that probably means you're doing a good job with SEO.
Exactly. It means your content is showing up in search results, which is what you want.
Awesome. You mentioned article directories earlier as another way to promote your hubs.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about how those work?
Sure. Article directories are basically websites where you can submit your articles, your hubs, and they get distributed more widely.
Okay.
It can be a good way to reach a new audience, people who might not have found you otherwise.
So more eyeballs on your content.
Exactly. But the key is to choose directories that are relevant to what you write about. You want to be in front of the right people.
Makes sense. It's like you wouldn't advertise hiking boots in a knitting magazine.
Exactly. Find the places where your target audience hangs out.
Good advice. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Let's shift focus for a minute and talk directly to our listener who might be just starting out with HubPages. What's the most important thing they should keep in mind?
Honestly, I'd say don't get overwhelmed. It's easy to get caught up in all the different options and strategies.
There's a lot to learn.
There is. So start small. Pick
Yeah.
one or two topics that you're really excited about and focus on creating some really great hubs. Focus on quality, connect with your audience, and don't worry too much about everything else at first.
So just get started. Dip your toes in the water.
Exactly. And as you gain experience, you can start experimenting with different ways to monetize your content and promote it.
It's all about that learning process, right?
It is. Enjoy the journey. It's not a race.
I love that. Now, before we move on, I want to go back to those money-making methods we talked about. I'm curious, of all of them, which one stood out to you the most?
Oh, that's a good question.
And why? Was it the simplicity of those built-in affiliate programs, the strategic approach of promoting your own business, or maybe the long-term potential of building that email list with freebies?
Tough choice.
Think about it, listener. What excites you the most? What aligns with your goals and your passions?
Yeah, where do you see yourself fitting in?
And to take it a step further, I challenge you to brainstorm 3 hub topics that you could create. But here's the catch. They have to be topics that would genuinely help and inform your target audience. What are those subjects you could write about effortlessly where your knowledge and enthusiasm would just shine through?
That's a great challenge.
Because remember, the more passionate you are about your topics, the more your readers will connect with your content.
Absolutely.
And hey, if you're feeling super ambitious, think about those bonus methods we talked about. Writing hubs for other people, building a network of related hubs.
Sure.
Those could be fun ways to explore as you get more comfortable on HubPages.
Definitely. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
And that's what makes it so exciting, right? HubPages is a platform where you can explore your interests, share your knowledge, connect with others, and maybe even make some money while doing it.
It's a win-win.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
even if HubPages doesn't end up being your main source of income, the experience itself can be incredibly valuable.
Oh, yeah. You'll learn new skills, expand your knowledge, connect with awesome people.
It's an investment in yourself.
100%.
So, listener, are you ready to dive in? Are you ready to embrace your inner hubber and see where this online adventure takes you?
We're excited to see what you do.
And hey, if you do decide to give HubPages a try, let us know how it goes. We'd love to hear about your experiences, your successes, even your challenges. We're all in this together, constantly learning, growing, and finding new ways to share our passions with the world. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be sharing your HubPages success story right here on the Deep Dive.
That would be awesome.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of HubPages.
It's been a good one.
It has been. So much to explore. As always, stay curious, keep creating, and keep diving deep. There's a whole world of fascinating stuff out there just waiting to be discovered.
Couldn't agree more.
It really is a cool concept, having this platform where you can connect with other writers, learn from their experiences, even collaborate on projects.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that makes HubPages so unique.
Definitely.
It's not just a content mill. It's a place where you can actually build relationships, share ideas, support each other.
And that can be so helpful, especially when you're first starting out. It's like having this built-in support system as you're navigating, the world of online writing and content creation.
Absolutely. And speaking of support, we talked about Amobi.com earlier, the company that handles the advertising on HubPages.
Right.
I'm curious, how do you think that relationship works? Does Amobi.com just dictate what kinds of ads appear on the site?
That's a good question. I mean, I would imagine it's more of a partnership, right?
Yeah, I think so. Amobi.com provides the technology, the network, but ultimately HubPages probably has some control over the types of ads they allow.
Right. They probably have guidelines to make sure the ads are relevant, that they don't totally ruin the user experience.
For sure. It's got to be a balance.
It's like if HubPages is the landlord, Amobi.com is kind of like the real estate agent,
Okay, I like that analogy.
helping to find tenants, for that ad space.
Yeah.
But HubPages still gets to vet those tenants, make sure they're a good fit. And speaking of fitting in, one thing that really stood out to me in that Making Money with HubPages document was this whole emphasis on choosing a niche.
Yeah, they talk about that a lot.
Why do you think that's so important?
Well, I think it helps you focus your efforts and establish yourself as an authority in a particular area.
Right. So instead of trying to be a jack of all trades, writing about everything under the sun, you pick one thing and really own it.
Exactly. It's easier to build a following that way.
Makes sense. And if you're trying to make money from your content, it probably helps with that too.
Oh, absolutely. Advertisers are going to be more willing to pay a premium if they know they're reaching a very specific targeted audience.
It's just smarter, more strategic.
Definitely. And honestly, from a reader's perspective, it's more reassuring to see that the person writing about a particular topic actually knows what they're talking about. It builds that trust and credibility.
And that's what it's all about, right? building something sustainable, something that people actually value.
For sure.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive into the world of HubPages, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the whole community aspect,
Yeah, I think that's really important.
especially for someone who might be a little hesitant to, put themselves out there online. What would you say to them?
I'd say the HubPages community is one of the best things about the platform.
Okay, good to know.
It's a place where you can connect with other writers, share ideas, get feedback on your work, even collaborate.
So you're not alone.
Exactly. You've got this whole group of people who are going through the same things, facing the same challenges, celebrating the same wins.
I like that. And that's a powerful message to end on, right? HubPages is more than just a platform for making money. It's a community of people who are passionate about sharing their knowledge and supporting each other. So listener, if you're looking for a place to connect, to learn, and to maybe even earn some income while doing something you love, HubPages might be the perfect place for you.
It's definitely worth checking out. You never know what you might discover.
And we're always here to cheer you on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of HubPages. Until next time, keep those creative juices flowing and keep exploring.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Link in Bio podcast. Want to dive deeper into today's topic? Grab your copy now. Just click the link in the description. Stay curious, stay empowered, and we'll see you next time.